Oh my, so this is what I get for spending the afternoon in my studio with my sewing machines and stuff. Figures it's on a day when my Bernina has completely given up the ghost that this nonsense would be going on. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am. I told Steve a little while ago, I said, Steve, I feel like crying because we really thought that Todd Chrisley was going to be the one to hold KJ's feet to the fire. Unfortunately, he was not. What the heck? Okay. I bought a new ring light this week and I'm not sure I like it or not. How much I like it was cheap. So I'm here with my bubble water and my disappointment and feel like crying because I thought Todd, said he was determined to go to the end. All I can say is it must be because of what's going on in his life with the lawsuit. Well, not the lawsuit, him being convicted by the IRS and trying to overturn that. Now we're going to have to hear KJ lie about how she won this case. Yes. And here's the other thing. Here's the thing I'm really disappointed. And this is why I tell people don't sue unless you have the money to take it all the way. You think she's been bad now? She is going to be insufferable. She is going to be insufferable, coming up with more and more nonsense, saying stupider things all the time, throwing shade at everybody. Ugh, I just cannot. She'll do it. She'll do it. She'll do it. She will be the worst version. Every single it's like those stupid video games where what is it? There's a video game I sometimes play on this stupid thing. One of the ones in the whole Angry Birds franchise. It's like jumping up and squashing each other and stuff. And you think it's going to happen, and then you get squashed. Well, I hope 7M can, because she's still talking about them just a little bit. And I have no doubt that somebody close to her or her contacted the IRS about Rob Shin. I just have a weird feeling about it. I can't prove it, but there it is. Hey, Kimberly Ann. So don't harass her in any way, shape, or form. I think I am going to have to just go on a KJ Atorium. No talking about this crazy woman because we're about to see it get a whole lot worse. I can hardly imagine how bad she's going to be once this is over. When she went totally silent, we knew something was going on, something major. Remember, she only had to mortgage her house to fight it to a draw. And as I said, it's a war of attrition. Even if it fought to a draw, she still loses. Exactly, Java Man, because it cost her money. It's rumored she hasn't paid her attorney from the Tanti lawsuit, that guy is still unpaid. Is Graham Cracker fully paid? Yeah, so and it's really sad because I talked to Todd maybe a month ago and he seemed like he was going to take it all the way from talking to him. She gave up on her Bentley. Well, she had to sell both of her Bentleys. Yeah. So, of course she settled. She settled like a bitch. Folded like Superman on laundry day and said in her little thing, her little spiel, she didn't win. He didn't win. It was a draw. And they were not supposed to talk about each other. Here's what we need to do. We need to put together a betting pool and start waiting for her to mention Chrisley because she will eventually. She's going to do it again. She just cannot keep her damn mouth shut about anything. Huh. I heard her say she was almost done paying for a Tati attorney. Well, she's racking them up now. Yeah, we know she lies about the source. Christine, I could have told you that because she did a whole series of stuff that was based on rumors. I told her they were rumors. There was no way to source them, and there was no way to verify which Duggar kid was gay. So she lets all that crap out. Oh man. Hey Nikki, the other night you were doing Helter Skelter and Charles Manson. I almost PM'd you to talk about it because one of my good friends, he lived next door to the Mansons, what was left of the Manson cult after the trial and stuff. He had some crazy tales to tell. You haven't watched her since August 2020. I don't know when the last time I watched her was, Java Man. I don't even watch the clips. I let Llama Girl and everybody else tell me what she's been saying because it's just too frustrating. Hey guys, I hear that nasal Midwestern accent, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear that. I have enough trouble not speaking Southern. So, is it really true? Yes, they settled. Now, Steve McRae said that Todd was trying to get a hold of him last night, but I think Steve worked last night. So he's going to reach out to him and see what the deal is. And I'm waiting for that. Do we actually know whether or not Todd Chrisley actually settled? I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm pretty sure he did because, she released a statement. I don't think he has released a statement. I haven't seen anything come through on Twitter where he's saying, oh, I settled or anything like that. Oh, every Thursday. Huh? Well, sadly, Nikki, my friend, has passed, but I might be able to scare up some of the stories. It's been a while. He had some wicked run-ins with a couple of them, and death threats thrown. So I kept telling him, it's like you can't fight with the people that are in the Manson group because they're all loco, and they are. Yeah, Nikki, it was tragic. It was a good friend of mine. I had met him when he passed when I was 59. We were still good friends. We still talked and stuff. So it was one of those longtime friends. I don't blame Todd Chrisley for settling now if he did. 7M lawsuit looks to be shaping up for KJ to lose this November. Exactly, Laura. And I don't think Robert Shin is going to settle. And somebody dubbed him into the IRS. And like I said, I have no doubt it was sourced through her, whether it was her or one of her little pals. Somebody did it. Somebody did it. And it's kind of sick and sad. We don't know what's going to happen there either. We know she'll eventually talk about Todd. She really can't keep her mouth shut. Christine, we know we should, like I said, we should make up a betting board. Everybody come up with what date they think that she will talk, and the one that gets the closest wins the pot. Because I think she's going to. Her nature is she can't keep her mouth shut. She's a blabbermouth. She always has been. And I think it's important not to get too personally vested in this. We're just observers. We don't have standing in these. Well, Java Man, I have at least a little bit of a standing. I had talked to Todd Chrisley quite a bit. And I had let him know all about the history, working with her, everything that had happened, looking for documents I may have had. I had to go on my old computer and look around. I didn't have anything that was earth-shattering left. 7M, I'm not going to talk to Robert Shen. Because it would be too triggering for me because I came out of that kind of church. I came out of a church very similar to Shekinah that is also linked with some of the churches that Shekinah is linked with Hillsong, Bethel Redding, and some of the other ones. She is looking at losing millions, imaginary millions and imaginary Bentleys, because we know she doesn't have that much money. When you keep playing with fire, eventually you get burned. That's the truth of this whole thing. And I don't blame Todd either for settling because he's got bigger fish to fry. He's got that conviction that he's trying to get overturned. He's trying to get another trial. And if what I was reading is true, the IRS agent lied about his tax payment status and what was due, then yeah, they ought to overturn his conviction and do a retrial or just not try him at all. Because between the guy who was the main witness And the IRS agent, it smelled like a setup from where I was sitting. Oh, so yeah, today has been one hell of a bad day. My Bernina died, my Bernina sewing machine. I don't know what's wrong with it, and chances of getting it fixed here are slim and none. Um, Coming out of my sewing room to find this out. Was the IRS agent named Steve? No, he was not named Steve. I don't, it was a female, so I forgot what her name was, but she had lied. She lied under oath. She lied on the stand and said that he owed all this money, even though he had actually paid those out. He had long since paid them. The IRS had canceled the checks. He had canceled checks, and she sat on the stand and said that he still owed the money. It's just such a crazy situation. I just found out a lot about the foundation my religion was formed upon. I'm so sad because I never thought I would have to go through deconstruction of my faith. It's heartbreaking. I feel so lied to. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it is terrible. Deconstruction is no fun at all. And it can be wicked and take a long time. Like I said, I still struggle sometimes with the crap that went on at my old church and some of the things I'm exposed to here in the faith communities. Because here it's either the Roman Catholic Church, which is only in Spanish, or you're going to end up at one of the evangelical non-denominationals. That's kind of it. If you want to do like Methodist or Seventh Day Adventist or other more mainstream, you have to go into Liberia, which is an hour away. I'm not driving an hour away to go to church. It's just not quite. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to reconstruct that voodoo doll and stick a few pins in because this is getting really stupid. Deconstruction is what happens, Star Lily, when you leave these high demand religious organizations and you start having to redefine everything in your life and you start looking at the bedrock things that you believed in and realizing that a lot of it was not true at all. And it's in your head. You're going to have to throw that stuff out and do better. And when you do, it takes forever. I've been crying so much because I know my family is still is apart. And now I can't even go to church because as soon as I see the first red flag, I'm out. Yeah. And that's the problem. It can tear families apart, friendships, it touches every aspect of your life. I cried every day for 2 years after I came out of my church. 2 years. And then I was able to start making some progress of getting some of this stuff out. But here I am. I'm like, I don't know, 17 years out, 16 years out. And it's still hard. There's still things that happen where I get reminded or triggered of things. So that's why I was having such a fit about KJ stealing my story, is because her stealing my leaving my faith story just cheapens it and turns it into something that it is not. It's not fodder for her to make money off of. It's my life. I lived it. It wasn't fun or enjoyable. It just was what it was, live through this. It was just a bad thing all the way around in those days. And I was too blind to see it. I only realized it later. Oh, so all this on top of that. Yep. So I'm waiting for confirmation from Todd Chrisley or someone close to him. Steve says he's going to reach out this evening when he can to try and find out from Chrisley what happened. Yes, this prosperity gospel, latter rain movement, revival, speaking in tongues, prophecy, slain in the spirit, it's all lies. Laugh out loud. That was the determination I made. And I love like fire tunnels and speaking in tongues, people roaring like lions or barking like dogs or whatever, being slain in the spirit, all those things. I loved that. I loved holy laughter. I had every anticipation that I was going to see gold dust and feathers fall from the ceiling and gemstones. I wanted that so badly. but it was not to be for me. And coming out, I'm looking back at all of this and deconstructing it and going, it was a pile of malarkey. And it was only recently I was able to say those things were, because for a long time I still believed in them. Crazy as that is, you leave the CULT church and you haul out some of your practices and beliefs with you. Later, you're like, why am I doing this? You wonder how all this takes place. Somebody was working on a Reformed Church of Scientology that was more true to L. Ron Hubbard's teachings. I don't know if Scientology has a place here. I'm going to have to research that, because that's one of those things that's just, well, I think part of it is uh, that the Ticos don't have enough money. Guess what? They do. Iglesia de Scientology, the Church of Scientology. Let me find out where this place is. It looks like, yeah, so they have a thing here. I'm going to look and see where it's at exactly, so I can know to avoid it, if nothing else. San Jose, the capital city. Rohrmoser looks like. It is a part of the town that looks like it's named for the Germans. So it's there. I haven't seen anybody come around here with it, but hey. Grace Peter, yeah, we're in here, and Brenda Lee, we're discussing the fact that it looks like Todd Chrisley settled with Catherine Paulson. After saying he was going to take this all the way and he wasn't going to settle, he did settle. I never thought of an ohm meter as a religious instrument. Isn't that what you measure the meter, like the electricity around you? I don't know what an ohm meter is. If that's what it is, then yeah, it's one of those things that I've seen my electrician use. And I was excited about that yesterday. We got an electrician in here who put two more 220 lines in, more breakers, so that we could have hot showers and it wouldn't keep tripping everything, because I used to love dancing around the altar waving flags. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I gotta grab this and show you then. You'll get a kick out of this. Perk you up if you're feeling KJ angst. I still do sometimes. I let my freak flag fly and play with these things. I've got a ton of these flags. No, I did not see. I try to avoid Todd. I try to avoid Todd. Laugh out loud. I do this now because I like to do it, not because I'm trying to do worship dancing or anything anymore. But this was my thing. I used to make all kinds of crazy flags. I had half round flags that had chiffon with glitter in the center, and then had the lame on the sides. I had some really cool ones, but only a couple of flags actually made it here, and none of my expensive ones that I made with the lame and the glitter in the center made it through. Oh, you have worship flags. Oh, Star Lily, awesome. The flag brings back memories. Yes, it does. Yeah, I would have fit in at a lot of these churches. And the thing is, I was a true believer for so many years. And the thing that took me from being big time believer to no longer true believer was the way I was treated when I followed my husband to a different church. I still think it's easy to refer to him as Toad, so we don't confuse him with Todd Chrisley. Java man, you are probably right. Toad. His behavior is loathsome and toad-like, so yeah, Toad. And the guitars, oh my goodness, him and his guitar making. It's just sad this man won't leave and get a job. Why should he? She's a goose that laid the golden egg, and I know that that was the title of Renell's latest video. Um, and it's just this whole thing is just too much. They try to slay you in the spirit, they push you back. In the Bible, anytime God showed up, they fell on their face prostrate, yeah. And they try to push you down. I got pushed down a number of times because I was not going to go down unless I actually felt that I was going to go down. And I only experienced that once or twice for real. Most of the time, it was just like push, shove you down. He can use the guitars to pay the attorneys. Kit guitars? Really? Riddell referred to his comment about Katie being the ghost that laid the ghost that laid the golden egg. Todd tried to say the comment was meant to be about others making money off KJ. I know she's red hot about that, but as I've said, I don't feel bad talking about her because she stole my damn story of being in my church, joining and leaving. She took my words. So as far as I'm concerned, I feel perfectly justified because of all the plagiarism to speak about her whenever I damn well please. I am 36 now and just starting the deconstruction, so this is very difficult. I was there from birth. Oh goodness! So you went to school is very. I know. I've seen so many young people from my old church struggle with this, and that was one of the things that was good for me when we got to the Methodist church, is there were several children from our old church who were now young adults that I got to spend time with and minister with, and where everybody was going through deconstruction at the same time. It was pretty terrible. My old church blew apart and it never really recovered. It was just like 10 or 20 people that were going, and they were the hardcore haters. She lacks any moral ground to complain about people making money off her. Exactly, Java man. Look at what she's done to the Duggars. Look at the allegations she made the other against John David, tipping off his father to Josh's court cases. That is vile. I will try looking at a Methodist church. Well, the nice thing about the Methodist church, and I will tell you this, except pretty much anybody, they're pretty non-judgmental, even if you're coming out of something like non-denominationalism. And that is their great strength. The other great strength of the Methodist church is the theology is pretty solid, and you're under a regional, state, national board, so nothing too crazy can take place. I don't know how they settled. I know that she had been begging Todd for a settlement, and I think if I had to guess, I would say that with everything he has on his plate with trying to overturn his conviction, he probably just was done with this and decided to settle because he wasn't going to get money out of her anyway. He exposed that she did not have a source on the show like she was saying. She was trying to say all along that the information that she shared that he objects to came from a crew member. And in the depositions and things that came out, there was no crew member. There was no crew member at all that was giving her that info. She's begging to settle, and now Uni is screaming, how KJ? Well, of course he is. Uni has got some unique rocks in his head. My friend has a boyfriend. Man, she hates that. Tells me every day he wants more dinero just to stay at home. Well, friend, you got to say, I love that song. That was one thing that when leaving my church, I got to start experiencing music, all the music I missed in those years. And one of the ones that I really like is The Offspring. I like some of their songs. I love that one. It's actually pretty funny. Most likely her source is the bottle of wine. Java man, I think she had to admit she didn't have a source. No sources at all. Now, there are always going to be Duggar sources because there'll be people in the Springdale area that will contact you out of the blue and say, hey, did you know blah, blah, blah? Because we both got contacted by them. When they did the raid on Josh's business, I'd been sent enough pictures of law enforcement there. I knew something was going down. And Jim Bob kept saying, "Oh, they didn't raid the house." They didn't raid the house, but they were up at the house at one point. I know that. I saw the pictures. No sources, just the voices in her head. Exactly. So she has the little stupids that tell her stuff, and then other people who tell her stuff for who knows what reason, and those are her sources. She doesn't have any legitimate sources, and that's what makes me so worried for anybody that goes to her who is trying to deconvert like you're trying to do, laugh out loud, because it is so hard to do. And when you have somebody that is telling you to confide in them about what you went through leaving the IBLP or anything, the new IFB, whatever, she doesn't have the background. She doesn't know what you're talking about. She just wants the salacious details. Has Todd C. made a statement yet? I haven't been able to find one, Shelley. I have looked all over the place, but she has made a statement and said that neither one of them admit fault in any way, shape, or form, that neither of them won. Yes, my church was a mix of fundamentalists and revivals. We went to Bill Gothard seminars, but also did all the Slain in the Spirit stuff. My old church, we started going to Toronto Christian Airport Fellowship. We went down to Brownsville. Um, we went over to Bill Johnson, Bethel Redding, all of his things we went to. Another big one that we went to was Randy Clark's church in Harrisburg, PA. We went there for their conferences because they had the Voice of the Apostles conference every November that was pretty interesting. She never helped anyone leave anything. No, she didn't. I wonder if the Mormon churches places in Costa Rica. Yes, I got to tell you a story about that. When I took a tour of their temple, they had a video that they had numerous places overseas. Which temple did you go see, Java Man? My kids went and saw the one in DC when they opened it recently for a month for tours, and they called me and said it was the freakiest thing they'd ever seen. You did Brownsville. We spent all day in line there. Grace, exactly. KJ creeps me out by the way she looks so gleeful when discussing what anyone else would think are the most disgusting and painful crime details, things most people don't want to talk about. Exactly. Jonathan, man, I didn't even know you were in that area. So you got to see that one. I am pissed because I missed it by mere days when I came to the town. If I'd have known it, I would have come earlier. They picked up from all it. Do you know the history of William Branham? I used to know the history of Branham because they used to hold him up as some kind of thing. A channel on YouTube that's from higher up members from the Branham Church. Do you think she got lucky again and will continue on as she has been? Off the record opinion, Shelley, I think this will make her worse. I don't think this will slow her down. I think this will speed her up because we've seen every time that she's managed to dodge a lawsuit or settle something, she immediately starts crowing that she won. And she may be told not to run her mouth, but she always does. She's going to be worse. She's going to run her mouth. I'm sure she'll talk about Todd, even though she has said she's not going to, and she's not supposed to as part of the agreement. I think that feeds the invincible me syndrome. Exactly. That's what's going to happen. She is like her own weird little CULT leader, like she is like she's occupying the Bill Gothard position without the problematic grabby stuff because she's not around enough real people to be grabbing their parts anyway. But I think this is going to make her even more insufferable. I can't with her. I just can't. She's the epitome of evil at this point. Shelley, I'm pretty much avoiding her in all ways, shapes, or form. I don't read her posts. I don't comment on anything anymore about her. I just shut up about her. I'm kind of sick of her. She's disgusting. She is truly frightening with some of the stuff that she has done and pulled through the years and gets away with. Never play chess with a pigeon. The pigeon just knocks over the pieces. It shits all over the board and starts around like it won. Java man, I thought about that several times in regards to her because that's how she acts with these things. And like I said, I think she's going to get worse. This is just going to make her worse. And this time, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let this thing with 7M play out. Even if I can't really root for Shin because Shin is part of a church that has links with Bethel Redding and with, what did I say earlier? Hillsong. Very problematic. His teachings were based on the KKK principles because the guy who ordained and funded Branham was a high leader in the KKK. And Jim Jones, before he broke off, was a Branham. I knew he was a Branham right-hand guy because I've been reading about him in some great detail and how he spun off with his own little CULT after starting as a pastor for many years. The channel name is called Leaving the Message. I'll have to check it out, most definitely. Autistic. What are we going to do with this woman? I am wondering if she has sold her soul to the devil or some kind of pact. Maybe she's got naked pictures of everybody. Who knows what the deal is because she manages to get away with this crap. And I'm laughing about it, but I'm also like wanting to cry. Never argue with the idiot. They'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Yep, exactly. So that's what I'm predicting will happen. I want to know the why. I want to know why he settled. I think because maybe it was costing him too much money and it was taking focus around for him from the real issue, which is getting a new trial for the tax evasion stuff and the bank fraud. It makes me so angry. KJ gets away with everything. Nikki, I feel the same way. I said earlier, I feel like constructing a voodoo doll, sticking it full of pins because I'm so angry tonight with her that she manages once again to skate away from things she's done, and he could have won. There have been a couple other cases with celebrities and gossiping bloggers where they've won millions of dollars against a blogger. So I'm going to have to sit here and wait for Robert Shin. And like I said, for me, this is going to be a hard one because Shin is so involved with the same kind of high demand religious organizations that I used to be a part of that I know inside and out. I know what their theology is, and I know it's pretty wicked. And it is pretty racially based. She has to have family members in high places that are getting out of these lawsuits. I just don't know any other reasons. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Black magic. Who knows with that woman what's going on? When Todd was speaking about the new trial, I knew something was in the pipeline. They were talking about God showing them grace. So I think they needed to extend it because they were feeling humbled. That could be because Todd told me he didn't want to be a hater. And he was not going to talk about it anymore and a couple other things. And he did seem pretty humbled. And I told him, I'm praying for you and your family. I'm praying that you guys come to an end for this and that it gets overturned. And I thought he had a decent chance, at least reading through the documentation. Decent chance. She said she doesn't get along with her family. That'll tell you something right now. I know it's almost always best to settle a case and not go to trial, but oof. Yeah, exactly, Brenda Lee. Look at return on investment of these things. What would Todd Chrisley gain by winning? Exceed the cost. He wouldn't gain anything financially. And like I said, with the plagiarism, I certainly thought about it myself. I thought about it. And I talked to an attorney in the States about it, about doing this, that thing. And once he started laying out how much it was going to cost, I was kind of like, do I want to put a new bathroom, extend my bathroom and put a sunroof on, or do I want to pay to sue that girl? I know which I chose. I know which one I chose. And that's the thing with lawsuits. And earlier today I did a video about stupid Lori Ann Dennick, also known as L. Ann Carrington, who was a horrible plagiarist that plagued a pile of us. When does the case with Robert Shin start? I think they're going to have a hearing soon, and Shin is asking for a summary judgment because apparently KJ hasn't replied to anything. She hasn't cooperated with discovery or anything, was what I understand. Going back to the pigeon and chess, what would you gain by winning against a pigeon? Feathers. I mean, not even, you wouldn't even gain money. You would be able to say, hey, I won, and that's it. And you have to figure out, what is that worth to you? There's a date mid-November. That's the one where they're asking for the summary judgment. They're having a hearing and they're asking for the summary judgment if she hasn't replied by then. And if she hasn't replied by then, they actually stand a chance of just settling outright and finding her guilty, which would be the best thing ever. It would make all of this crap so well worth it to have suffered through. The Bible says, don't envy the wicked because God will, she believes it or not, judge her. I know. It isn't much of an accomplishment winning against a pigeon at chess. No, it's not an accomplishment at all. So it's just so frustrating. It's incredibly like, ugh. But the real question is, how does she sleep at night? Shelley, I think she sleeps like all narcissists sleep. Very well. Because they think it's everybody else. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. They think everybody else is all screwed up. LB is talking about doing a video about all of her shenanigans and said that she has already identified over 60 people that have been hurt by her that have claims against her, would have claims to sue, or, you don't need God to judge her. She's living in a hell of her own making. There's that too. There is that. You cannot convince me she's happy. This is not the behavior of people who are happy. People who are happy turn off their computers every now and then, like I did this afternoon. And I was in my sewing room. I had a pile of things that I had put aside to make, and I had leftover pieces and things. I just started working on getting all that crap done and out of the way. I believe that when Robert Shin wins, all of YouTube is going to celebrate. Yes, we have to have a major party when that happens. LB could do it and should. I told her she should do it in parts. Every week, do a different part. And I guarantee she'll never run out of content. I've been keeping careful notes for over 2 years on the behaviors and craziness that's going on in the community. And it's like every day there's like a new thing to put on there. I finally quit charting it because it just became overwhelming, because it was a constant. Living well is the best revenge. Java man, it truly is. And even what's really funny is if you're living well, even people that don't like you will eventually try to suck up to you to join in. I believe hurting others makes her happy. It makes her feel superior. I believe so too, Star Lily. I think she gets some kind of charge from it, some kind of a emotional battery charge where she is like, it's filling her tank. In some churches, they would talk about you had to stay full of the Holy Spirit. You had to do so many hours of worship. You had to go to church all those times. You had to keep your tank full. And there's some truth to that. If you really want to stay in that frame of mind and live in that life, you have to, because you have to check your brain at the door. I talked about this before with my old church when this last summer, when I saw an episode of King of the Hill I'd never seen before, called church hopper, something like that. It's something to do with church hopping. And it was all what I experienced. And it was the thing where They keep you too busy to think or do anything. You're just constantly doing stuff at the church. They have you plugged in so you don't think. And that's kind of what I think all that is. I don't know if her getting a charge from hurting people is similar, as in that it keeps her from thinking too deeply about the things she feels bad about. And it could well be. I just hope that when she gets worse, it doesn't end in tragedy. Laura, that's what I'm afraid of. I am afraid that at some point someone is going to kill themselves because of the harassment, the things she's saying and doing. And we haven't heard the last yet with the Marvin McCrae situation and with Miss Letitia, who's talked about suing KJ. It'll piss KJ off. It is fantastic. Her Anne is very well thought out. Yep. She's busy and slow, but actually LB is very good at what she does. Exactly. Gino Samuels, Chris Chan Chrisography, whatever he calls it. He plans for it to be like 100 episodes or something documenting Chris Chan. He's over 50 episodes. Yeah, it's great. God, I was raised in the church open-minded. Oh, that's awesome. You know, this morning I talked a little bit about Elaine Carrington, our favorite plagiarist. I have a group of girlfriends that are real life friends now that I met because we were all plagiarized by this awful writer who was stealing our work, our photography, all kinds of things, our photographs, claiming things about us that were about her. But she wasn't as effective at KJ of conning anybody. And we were just trying to get her to stop plagiarizing us. And she sicked on us several anti-bullying organizations like, girl, please, we just want you to stop plagiarizing. One of the ladies in our group wrote a book about it with 130 some odd chapters about the manifold sins of Elaine Carrington, because she did all kinds of crazy stuff. She worked as a prostitute. She claimed to be a beauty pageant winner. Turned out that was faked. She claimed to be an international model, which was definitely faked. She made all these wild claims, and one of the weirdest ones was she was insane about wrestling and wrote a bunch of wrestling columns for wrestling websites that she plagiarized completely off other writers who are writing about wrestling. But the funniest thing about her was when she did finally find her groove and leave us all alone and quit plagiarizing us, she wrote romance novels about wrestling. I guess there's a kink out there for everyone. I forgot which internet rule that is. It says if you can think of a kink, there's a website for it. I think so. It's no relief from the horror in the real world. Can't even go for relapsing entertainment for relief. I understand a little bit now about narcissists, Shelley, because I ran into one like 6-7 years ago who gaslit me and did a number of really horrible things. And I went running back to my therapist crying. I was like, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Why is she acting like this? And my therapist said, you didn't do anything wrong. You've just run across a narcissist who was gaslighting the crap out of you. Did you hear about Glenn Beck? He hired a ghostwriter for a book, but the ghostwriter was lazy and just reused a book that he, the ghostwriter, wrote but wasn't selling. No, I did not know that. That is actually pretty funny. That is hysterical. Elaine Carrington is dead now, so I feel perfectly fine about talking about her now because I'm not bullying her. And our whole goal was to make her leave our writing alone. And she finally started doing her own writing. But like I was saying earlier, when she did a bunch of porno books too. I mean, bunch of just adult entertainment books. And when you're reading the sex scenes going, has this woman ever had sex? How would that even work? I mean, like one book, I'm bullying her ghost. Yeah, I'm bullying her ghost. Suzanne, today after the hurricane, there was a huge, like 800-pound walrus scooting through a neighborhood. One city, oh, the water was gone. I was so worried. Would they get this back to water. I'm sure that they'll find a way to do it. Oh, the poor baby. That's a huge. I can't get over a walrus that big. Oh my goodness. So she would write these horrible porn tales. And some of the things that she liked to say the most was like about tangy bungholes and huge steaming white ropey streams of you know what. And I would just be reading this going, I can't believe I'm reading this crap. This woman's never had sex. You guys have a great night. You have a good evening, Nikki. Go watch a scary movie. I'm getting ready to go myself here and just try to do something. I may have to walk in the pool. I tell you, if it was daylight, you know what I'd be out? I'd be out there gardening. I would be out there with a chainsaw chopping down trees. Because I've done that too when I've been pissed off. Oh, KJ and the lawsuit settlement. Yeah, it's just too much. It's too much for everyone. We're all pissed off. Katie said she was very promiscuous, that she's bi, even though she's married. I think the only thing that was bi on her is sometimes she comes across as bipolar, but I don't know. I don't think she's really bi. I don't buy it one bit. Have you heard about crazy redheaded Jessie? Wolf Smut story? Yes. And did you did you see where Chris Hansen did a video about her? She was throwing a fit for so long leading up to that, going, Chris Hansen's going to lie, blah, blah, blah. But of course, I had to watch it to see what Chris Hansen was actually going to say. It's ADHD meds and wine. Like Mommy Dearest and the Tree. Christina! Yeah, no, I would not do that to a child, but I might do that to a tree if I was pissed off about enough about it. Mention it tomorrow. I'm done with YouTube tonight. Yep. Exactly. And I think I'm pretty much done with it. I need to go pull up some bad writing and read it and see what I can come up with. Maybe I'll have to go. You know, they used to have a prize they give every year. I want to say it was John Steinbeck. Was it John Steinbeck? Oh, or was it? Anyway, a famous writer. It was named for him, and they would have the weirdest purple prose. And I'm gonna have to go read some of that to get over this crap. This is the worst. Yeah, Watch was who does most of production. He played all the calls between him and Jesse as he was researching for Chris. It's insane. She was saying that he bought her a vibrator. I don't know how true that is, but that is bizarre. Shelly, I'm glad you're less pissed off. I'm not much less pissed off. I'm still pretty pissed off. I'm not pissed off with Todd because I can understand why he would settle. It benefits him to settle. It definitely benefits her to settle. But I was hoping we would get a long, crazy trial out of this whole thing. There is a Black woman on TikTok who says she's a messiah and we have to obey her. Someone asked, how long have you started this? A week ago? Star Lily, all you have to do is go to Most Toast. I think that was the name of his channel. And all those videos of the phone calls are there. And Chris Hansen's channel on YouTube has a video with Jesse. It just is named after another famous creator. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a recent one, maybe a week or so ago. It's on our website. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Wes trolled her for like 3 months being her friend to get the story. Most worst? I don't know why I got most toast. Most worst. I'm probably thinking about toast. It's been one of those crazy days. I had up at 5 a.m. So I'm like so tired right now that it's like, is this even going in? So I was trying to stay up long enough to find out what was going on, what Todd Chrisley was going to tell Steve McRae about this because apparently he did try to reach him last night, and Steve was working or busy or something, who knows. So he said he was going to reach out to him again. She said she is the body of Christ, the new religion for a new day, only shows her face. Videos from bed. That's one thing that has been true ever since Jesus got here, and probably even before him. There's always somebody that claims that they are the Messiah, and they're usually not. Don't worry, there will probably be many more lawsuits in the future for KJ. I hope so. I'm going to consult this before I go. Will there be future lawsuits for KJ? It'll be specific, very specific. And then I got to read the stupid thing. Magic 8 Ball, it would be easier if the type was not so tiny. It is certain. It is certain. So there you have it. The Magic 8 Ball speaks. It's about as accurate as anything else. I don't know. I listen to the West Jesse calls on headset when I go to bed. It makes me crack up. I have woke up my husband. Uh-huh. Yeah. They are pretty funny. They are pretty funny. So who knows what's going to happen with any of this, but it is very disappointing tonight because I thought he was going to take it all away. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me, just ranting about the stupidity that is just rampant. And Java Man, hey, it makes as much sense as anything else. I started playing with it after having various online prognosticators say, the tarot cards tell me this, my better angels tell me different things. And I'm like, no. She said, we are only shocked God chose a woman, but black, sincere pastors try to argue. She said they are not Christians. I'm going to have to look this woman up because the other night I was watching, I don't know how many of you have seen The Shack. Have you seen The Shack? And God is a black woman in The Shack. And it's actually a pretty interesting film. It was an interesting book. You have to go message on Twitter. Oh, yeah. Deconstruction. Yeah, I talk about that quite a bit. Watch my topics. I have sometimes, I will talk about it because I'm still in deconstruction and I always will be. You've seen The Shack. Well, when I heard about this woman, I'm thinking, this reminds me of The Shack, kind of. Okay, I'm really going to go this time. Y'all have a good evening. Try to do something that lets go of all of this. And just try not to take it in. There's 7M and God knows what else is coming around the bend that we don't know about.